ući nijedan neće, ne bi ni ja trebao da ulazi. Ko ono iz vetra.
Kesib said AJNA Discord SEC. Me said Visho Samda Se Pribahavam Discorda. Me said Igardija.
Zdravo.
Stream Elements said
Alo,
Snake
Zdravo, zdravo.
Frost 1 is now
šta
live.
se radi, brate?
Streaming Hunt Showdown ain't no rest for the wicked.
Došao malo ranije, posle da kažem tako, ajde. Pošto su ova dvojica, kako se zove, Pušin i Aleksandar, ovaj drugi.
Da.
Oni su mi kao pomagači, tako da Mirko je rekao ne moram čekat pola 12, mogu i ranije otići, ono, ako hoće. Ja rekao je super, tako da izvadim još jedna kolica, ja odo, preko pa me pišu u 11 da sam otišao. I s tim izašao, izašao 11 ili pola 12.
A reci mi, to sam teo te pitan, da nemaš šrafčić, brate, za M2 disk, onaj što ga drži, sitan šraf, brate. Ladno mi nisu poslali šrafčića, na matičnoj ga nema.
To i bolje ploče, da kažem nije bolje. Neke ploče što sam gledao novije imaju dva šrafa. Ili imaju pločicu. Jel imaš pločicu koja se skida sa matične i ispod nje se nekad stavlja M2?
Nema, nego baš na šraf ide.
Onda ide na šraf, ali nemam. Ja sam imao jednu. Jedan mi je Milan dao, čini mi se. I to je to. Pošto ja imam 2 M2 diska. Imam jedan od 2 terabajta i jedan sistemski od 128 ili 256, tako nešto.
A da. Ovdje baš imam neki sitan šraf, ide u pičku materinu.
To je jedino da skineš s ploče neđe ako možeš da vidiš, ako možeš nešto da odvidaš, ja stvarno ne znam. Ili iz grafičke karte, možda grafička karta ima jedan od onih, znaš da imaš one šrafove što drže komponente ili recimo...
Da, pa što je najveća fora, pokušao sam da skinem, ali još neki sitniji šraf ide.
Kad bi zna, rekao bi ti. Spitao Milana?
Nisam, pitaću ga baš.
Ne mogu ti ga napraviti, ne znam od čega da ga uzmem. S toga tiče.
Baš su neki još sitniji šrafovi od toga, brate. Lako bi ja imao i od tih starih matičnih šrafova, ali ne mogu da nađem takav šraf, brate, nema šanse. Stigo mi M2, ali ne mogu, mislim mogu ja da ga montiram, ali stoji uvis jebi.
To je jedino da uzmeš, a to je nikakvo rješenje, super lepak pa da ga zalipiš i onda mu nema micanja. To je ono najgluplje moguće rješenje što mogu da smislim.
Da ako nađem neđe sitniji šraf u pičku, zamisli bizarno, ali jebi ga.
Ne nego,
Ne mogu da vjerujem da matična,
Slušaj.
brate, nije imalo taj šraf.
Slušaj, znaš ti šta je to bilo? Kad kupiš hard disk, znaš da ti oni ne daju onaj kabel, onaj što povezuje ga na
Da,
matičnu ploču.
SATA kabel, misliš.
SATA, pa recimo SATA. I bili i oni stari kablovi, oni široki, oni ide kablovi. Ni ono nisi
Da,
dobijao, ma kaki. Ni SATA, ni ide, ma ništa od toga. Ko te jebe, znaš kao. Imaš ga s pločom. A nemam, a nemaš, onda jebi ga. To je 200 dinara ili, ne znam, 1 euro, na primjer. Zašto je to problem da se to pošalje, razumeš, nekome uz ono, kompjuter, ja ne vidim. Će li firma osiromašiti od toga, šta? Tako retardirano i to tako idiotski. Naročito, ajde, oni stari ide kabel, oni su ogromni bili. Malo nezgodni za pakovanje, ali znaš o kome se zauzima SATA kabel, taj šafčić. Mogli su ga zalijepiti sa komadom, razumeš, ono, razumeš da ga stave na neki stiker i na komad plastike i samo ga onako zalijepe unutra u kuticu, pošto je to mala kutija za M2, da, baš malo. Tako,
Vidiš, ova moja matična ima samo jedan slot M2. Nema
i što mi je malo glupo, jer znam da je to je sigurno bolji chipset nego ovaj što ja imam. A opet mi je nevjerojatno to da moja ploča koja je mini formata ima 2 M2 slota. Jesu jedan pored drugog, ali ima. Teoretski ima. I teoretski sam to iskoristio.
Imam onaj Wi-Fi kao slot, M2 Wi-Fi.
To je nešto drugo.
Hyper M2, to vidim. Ali jedan slot samo.
Hyper M2, pa je li iste veličine kao normalni?
Hyper M2, da, to je taj slot za... U njega ulazi ovaj.
Aha, to je jedini taj kao, aha. Aha.
Ja mu jebem, ne mogu da verujem sad. Bukvalno nemam predstave šta da smislim.
Hyper M2 ti je rezervisan specifično za Intel tehnologiju. Intel taj NVMe kontroler, nevjerojatnije. Zanimljivo. Nemam. Ništa me ne košta da ti ga dam ili da ti ga pošaljem nešto, nemam, džaba nemam. Nemam čega da ga skinem, imam tu neki starudija, sad bih pobacu u smeće. Džaba kad su to sve stare ploče, stari kompjuteri, ništa od toga nema, niđe nema što to je tako malo.
Što je najgore, pokušao sam da skinem ceo komplet šarav, jer znaš da se ono kao odvrće i sa matične onaj.
Da.
a u njega se kao uvrće šraf. Znaš o čemu ti govorim?
Mislim da znam. I?
Probao sam i njega da odvrnem i da stavim neki širi šraf. Međutim, ne može jer je i dolje uzak. Nije samo gore uzak, već je i muški taj šraf kao što ulazi u matičnu, isto je uzak. Tako da ne mogu ništa osim njega ne mogu. Nevjerovatno, brate, ali eto viš, nešto mora. Da ne gore, evo gledam, nema ni na Wi-Fi-u, nema niđe, sve su isti slotovi šrafa, a nigde šrafčića tog sitnog nema da bi mogao da ga odvrne, ne. Ajde, ovo da nekom pričaš ne bi verovao.
Pa ne bi ti verovao jer sam imao takvo iskustvo. Glupo napravljeno.
Baš glupo.
Kako ovo retardirano urađeno. Ovaj deo mape. Ništa nema.
A reci mi sad, kad se radi o N2 disku, ima li određeno koja dva slota gasi ili kako to?
Nema. Nemaš.
Dva sata slota, to.
To ti je nasumično. Misliš tipa, sad ti čušneš na primjer 4 hard diska, aj nek bude. I gurneš jedan M2 ovaj disk. To ti je lutrija.
Znači to nasumično.
Sad, označeni su oni na matičnoj ploči, razumiješ, tipa kad ti pogledaš one konektore, ono.
Da.
Ali, da me pitaš koji će se isključiti, rekao bi ti ne znam, probaj.
Pa da, jasno, to mi nema.
Ako ne radi, prikačiš na drugi.
Sve jedno, brate, neću mi koristiti ovaj hard diskove. Sad da ubacim jebenice za hard disk. Zato mi je bila poenta da uzmem ovo da bi izbačio hard disk.
Pa, ja kad bi teo, ja mogu se stavim na 1 M2.
Da.
Ali ono, imam, sad ću ti reći kako je kod mene. 2 M2 i 1 SSD ako se ja dobro sjećam. Kako ti je kod mene. Taj SSD je čini mi se 500 GB ili terabajta, zaboravite. A 1 M2 je, čini mi se, 256 ili 512, a drugi je 2 terabajta, tako da je to sasvim dovoljno. Hmm.
Zamisli, pronašao sam ga, brate, u kutiji od matične. Sad vidim da li je to taj. Daj Bože, mislim da je to taj.
Bu.
A ovo u kutiji od matične.
Može biti da je to. Wow.
Video?
Si našao?
Evo ti vidio.
To ti je u kutiji sa pločom bilo, ne?
Da.
Vrlo impresivno ako su stvarno spakovali to. Obično nijedan ne boli se kure, znaš. Te proizvođači matičnih ploča, ko te jebe, znaš. E sad, kažem, zavisi koliko si ploču platio, ako je ploča malo skuplja. Onda idu onom logikom, ako si imao para kupiš ploču, pa kupit ćeš možda jednog dana i M2. Bam.
Eto ga, ladno jesi jebo.
E sad, ako nećeš da da opet instaliraš sistem, možeš da skineš onaj...
Pa pošto mi je na SSD-u sistem, ne bih sistem ni dirao.
A ne, da se nalažemo, ne vjerujem da bi ti šta brže ni radio. Ne bi ti osjetio tu wow razlog, znaš. To ti ja kažem. Možda bi Gosim Belladonna rekao, ma nije, nema Frostpoint, ali ja mislim da ne bi vidio, ne znam kako radi. Mori je svi vir. Ulazi.
Bi on trebao sam odmah da ga vidi ili treba ubio su nešto da se to desi?
Ne, skini... Možeš preko Windowsa to da uradiš, možeš da instaliraš neki... Ili googlaj format M2 disk. Kucaj u Google. Ili kucaj easy format M2 disk. Naćiš objašnjenje u 2 koraka. Možeš preko Windowsa latki, a možeš da skiniš neki recimo... Kako se zove onaj partition na primjer. Da.
pokrenuo sam kompjuter i još ga ne vidi.
To što nije formatiran.
Aha,
Ne formatiraju oni to za tebe, moraš to sam. Na primjer, skineš Partition Tool Magic, tako se zove, on je džabe. Ja ga koristim dosta puta. Prijaviti.
Kako se kuca tačno?
Partition. Partition Magic. M-A-G-I-C. se uspio. Oh, hello. Hello, Mr. Ebola. What's up? Is your afternoon being productive? No. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
actually nuts. Has anyone ever told you that?
I had Max, they were close. I was like, fuck it, let's go. I'm gonna jump down this fucking staircase and flank them, and by the time I get...
That's embarrassing.
One's right. No idea where I go. Okay. Yeah, I got shot from the window.
Times, you know. That's embarrassing for that. No.
Beside me.
Fucker, cook, sucker.
I do it on purpose.
Yeah, me too. I dig it with my boot just for the clicks, you know.
Yeah, of course, of course. All right.
Thank you.
All right. See you later.
See you, yeah,
Yeah, I'm
bye.
going this way. I gotta bounce out, so. Fortnite? Sometimes WoW? Sorry? Oh, you play WoW too? Very good, very good. So you guys are all gonna play Classic because Classic is the way to go.
Classic is the shit, boys.
Yeah, there it is.
Dude, you know what she looks like? Dude, chat, I'm sure you guys are gonna agree. Chat, Buffy.
There it is. You need to watch my podcast,
I
Classic
will
Cast.
check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
Go
I
to-
didn't watch on YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah, Classic Cast on YouTube or whenever I stream it on Twitch.
Right!
Okay,
Right!
Let's
Yeah.
go then.
All right.
Holy
Okay, I'm gonna
shit!
bounce out of here. So, all right, we'll see you guys.
Buffy Vampire Slayer!
Yep, bounce, bounce, bounce. We're gonna bounce out. Okay.
Bro,
Yeah, actually, I couldn't stand there any longer because my.
bro, I actually went hard with this one. Hold up.
Sorry?
What's Warcraft?
Oh, you play WoW too? Very good, very good. So you guys are all gonna play Classic because Classic is the way to
Of
go.
course, Classic
Dude, what do you mean not? No, it does.
is the shit, boys. Classic
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
shit.
there it is.
If you didn't watch the show, okay? If you didn't watch the show.
fuck is a Buffy?
Don't talk to me. If you didn't watch the show.
There it is.
If you've seen
need
the
to watch my
show, you know
podcast.
she does
I
look
will
like
check
that.
it out.
It's not only just the hair.
I
Go to-
didn't watch on YouTube, to be honest.
Yeah, Classic Cast on YouTube or whenever I stream it on Twitch.
Okay, alright. Let's
Yeah.
go then.
All
Thank
right.
you, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce out of here. So, all right, we'll see you guys. Yep, bounce, bounce, bounce. We're gonna.
Oh no. Son of a bitch. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Wow. Wow. I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something to say. Should've walked away, should've walked away. I just died in your arms tonight. Must have been something to say. Should've walked away, should've walked away. Shush. What is revolution? Oh. Zo. Oh my lord. Thank you. Loba.
All right. If you got that, Rich is with Mia, bro. You must be new here. Rich has been dating Mia for like almost 8 months. Me and Emmy actually saw the first time they became very close. We were upstairs like fucking like eating, and they were in my hot tub, and you just hear Rich go, and then you see her with a whole bottle of vodka in his mouth, and Rich was in love ever since. That's actually it. It was the first time. Like, it was, and I watched her slurp glorp vodka into Rich's mouth, and Rich was like, I'm in love. And then that's actually all that happened. It's a beautiful love story, chat. And you know what made me realize, too? I've honestly made a lot of streamers. I'm better at lover hosts or whatever than Austin Show. I've made Vay and Soda. That's me. Kind of, but more so me, because I told Tectone to get VTubers, and he got Vay, which I asked for. Cuco and Lucari. Slick in his bed. You know? Who else did I get? I've literally been straight up like Cupid. Wait, Soda said Rob did it? No, it was my show!
Obviously, Riot MMO has been like super fucking anticipated. Everybody's been talking about it. People are just going wild. Every time I watch a video, people ask me when I'm going to watch this video, and it's finally going to happen. Let's take a look at the Riot MMO races and classes. I'm kind of curious to see what this is going to be, honestly.
Well,
oh,
I'm back. Last time we had a look at the World of Riot's MMO, and we talked about how the overall world design has been done for a few years now. If you have no idea what League's universe is about, I would recommend watching that one first.
Yeah.
But now that we learned about the basics, we can dive into the other big MMO topic, the playable races and classes. When it comes to the races, just like the world, they are pretty much done. Over the years, the lore fleshed out the races of Runeterra. And
I have no idea what any of the races are in any of the Riot world except there's like cat girls, and I think one of them's like Ahiri or something like that. Like that is the extension of my understanding of like the races in Riot's MMO. Yeah, Yordles, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Now they each have their own unique story. In fact, at this point, it feels like we know Riot will not make up a brand new race. Of course, they could always theoretically do it, but I seriously doubt they would. Because that would be like forcing a new race into the world of Lord of the Rings. It would feel off among all the already established rules. I strongly doubt you wanna put a bunny person next to Aragorn. With that said, don't worry, because the lore will allow Riot to make up new races and make them feel natural. I'll show you their clever system in just a moment. But for now, just know that, yes, we already know the races of this world.
Okay,
so the question is not going to be what races Riot is going to make up. The question is going to be, from the races that already exist, which ones will be playable? And perhaps more important...
I do think that it's obviously like a super huge difference between like Middle-earth, Arda, Lord of the Rings universe, and Riot's MMO, because the fundamental of the Lord of the Rings universe is that it is finite. Tolkien is not making new content about Lord of the Rings, so this is something that's established, and like if you're adding new stuff onto it, it is fundamentally not being made by the person or like whatever made the original. So like if Riot is making new races and new content for the game, I think that's totally fucking fine, right? It's the same as like obviously Tolkien probably in like the first thing that he wrote about Lord of the Rings or like Middle Earth, he probably didn't have every single thing stated in that original book, and then he kind of fleshed out a little bit more of it as he went along. And I think that's probably what Riot will probably do as well. I think that new races are not really a bad thing. I don't think you should, like, it's like in WoW, like, we've had this thing where, like, in expansions, we have to have a new race or a new class. I don't think that's necessary. I think it's just, you know, add something like that whenever it makes sense for the lore. That's about all there is to it. But if they added new races, I don't think it really matters, because they were the ones that originally made the content. That's what makes it different from Lord of the Rings, in my mind.
Importantly, how will they be playable?
Okay.
You see, a few years back, I released a similar video where we talked about the classes and the races together with TV Skyen. And today, I would not recommend you watch that video. Back then, I was still clinging onto the idea that faction-based MMOs were a good idea. It worked.
So he didn't play Classic WoW at that time. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Faction-based MMOs, like, it's just... I think that in a lot of cases, it depends on like how much influence which faction you're on really has, and if the game has any counterbalancing systems to like offset too many people playing on one faction. But I don't think faction-based MMOs are like fundamentally bad. I just think that they're bad in 95% of circumstances.
Worked for WoW, and it worked for my guilty pleasure, WildStar. Unfortunately, what I didn't know is that merely a year later, the idea of faction-based MMOs would crumble to dust. That's because...
Well, it's also, I think that that's the thing. It's like people go and they play Final Fantasy, and you don't have that barrier to entry. And like now you can play, like there's data center travel now, right? So like you can just go play with anybody you want whenever you want to play with them. And it's like, if one game has this and the other games don't have this, everybody's like, well, fuck this. I want to play with my friend. That's all there is to it. And like... the lore and the kind of like just like the ideology behind like the game and like what the intentions and vision are behind it, all of these things in my mind fall to the wayside the moment that you introduce like player friction. If the lore makes the experience playing the game worse, then the lore should not take precedent over gameplay. Gameplay and being able to do what you want in the game should always be number one.
Factions have a massive flaw. Besides the fact that PvP is almost guaranteed to be one-sided. I mean, who would want to play for the losing side? Especially...
Okay, this is funny.
especially if there is
Yeah.
no compensation.
Exactly.
Classic WoW is a perfect proof of that. Not to mention New World. But also, if you...
To be fair, our New World server was not that bad, but it's also like, I mean, let's be honest, there were only like 3 territories that actually mattered in New World, and nobody else cared about any of the other ones. Like, oh wow, we lost Morningdale. Oh damn, we're gonna lose like $30 because of that. Meanwhile, Windsward is printing millions of dollars. I mean, that's just what happens.
split everyone into 2 sides, you are splitting up your player base.
Yeah.
And that is almost never a good idea.
Especially
you simply
not
don't
now.
want to prevent people from playing together. The reason why in the past it worked for WoW is because Blizzard heavily played into the faction pride. People...
Well, there were no other... the other reason why it worked very well is that outside of just knowing somebody, there weren't really a lot of other ways for you to like, oh, like there wasn't Facebook whenever WoW came out. There wasn't like Discord groups for WoW. So like you would never go into the game and think to yourself like, oh, well, where's everybody else playing on? It just like wasn't even a concept in people's minds. So you would never create like a group of friends or join a group of friends and then know that you're not part of that group. Like there just weren't apparatuses in existence at that time that really make that happen outside of like maybe playing with like friends at school. That's about it.
were proud to fight for the Horde or the Alliance. But even back then, it really wasn't perfect. And then people started min-maxing the game and they realized that factions didn't matter.
No.
And that's where Riot has the edge. You may know that League of Legends has a lot of different regions, where they all act independently and they all have unique
saw that.
relationships with their neighbors. Because of this, forcing faction alliances into this world would ruin the already established lore. So PvP factions are most likely not going to be a thing. However, despite that, League absolutely has faction pride.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I mean, there's a lot of people that like being different classes in like Final Fantasy. There's people that like being different classes in mini games, right? You don't have to like. There's not only one way for you to be excited about playing any certain type of thing.
People love it when a new Shuriman champion is announced, because people love that place. And people love it when the new champion is not Ionian, because goddamn we have too many Ionians. Nearly every League of Legends player has a favorite region. And you bet when the MMO comes out, people will want to play for that region. And
That would
this
make
is
sense,
where
yeah, of
the
course.
brilliance of Riot's world kicks in. You see, the fundamental lore of League of Legends is based around the idea that anyone can be from any region. After an event the story refers to as the Westward Migration, races mixed up all around the world. So it's not like there is a furry region where you can only see furries.
That's too
There
bad.
are definitely regions where you can see more furries,
Okay.
but this world doesn't have exclusives.
Yeah.
This means that when you're picking up what you want to play, besides just picking a race and a class combination, I strongly suggest Riot also allows people to pick their origin, with the origin being the starting region.
I think that'd be fine. I mean, like, yeah, that's okay. The only negative with that is that whenever you have that happen, you have it to where everybody just picks the origin that's the most efficient. Like, I'll give you an example, like in Cataclysm. Hyjal was just better and more efficient for leveling than Vashir. And everybody played Vashir, or sorry, everybody played Hyjal, and everybody hated Vashir. That's all there is to it. So as soon as people realize min-maxing day one, the thing is, like, you can't make a game, like, I actually think that it's a failure of the game developer. Like, you make a game, and you give people, you program in the game this advantage that one side has, and then you have the audacity to go and complain that people choose the advantage that you put in the game? Get the fuck out of here. This is your fault. You're God. You made this happen. Fix the fucking game. Make it better balanced. There's not anything else more to it than that. I hate that shit. Oh, people are min-maxing. Oh, wow, what a surprise. People want to have the best thing. Do you want $100 or $105? You probably want $105. Do you want $1,000 or $1,005? Well, you probably won $1,005. So it's just like any reasonable application of like min-maxing equals bad outside of a video game is immediately fucking ridiculous. So I think that complaining about people min-maxing is insane. You should complain about the game providing reasons for people to have to min-max. Or feel like they have to min-max.
Without a system like this, you would force all human champions to be, for example, Noxian. And that is simply not how this world works. So, I've been rambling about how this world works for quite a while. So now, let's actually dive into all the races that exist in this universe. Spoiler alert, League doesn't have too many different races, because it's focusing on depth over variety. Of course, as it is with
I don't think you need a bunch of races. I don't. Like, I feel like WoW, it's like, do we really need Vulpera? I don't think so. Like, I don't think that we needed them. Like, it was unnecessary. How the fuck do we have Vulpera and no ogres? How did this happen?
In RPG, there is the human race. But it would be cool if the humans varied depending on their origins. For example, if you pick a human from the Freljord, they would be an Iceborn and they would have extra frost resistance. A Demacian could have a bit more magic resistance. Ionians could have a bit...
It's about, like, racial bonuses, right? Or, like, origin bonuses. It's like this... That sounds like a good idea, but, like, what I think that they should do is they should have, like, outdoor bonuses and nothing that affects combat or any sort of, like, massive level of, like, functionality. So, like, for example, you know how, like, Dark Iron Dwarves can use, like, the tunneling thing, and they can run faster in old instances or something like that? Like, the moment that you introduce combat advantages, or even, like, mass-scale, like, usability advantages, like, you know, Blizzard was complaining about Drakthir, like, obviously that was stupid, but there are examples of that being the case, where, like, for example, like, one race is just way better. Like, human is really good because it has 10% experience, or sorry, 10% reputation gain in WoW. Like, that kind of stuff is not super cool, because it actually doesn't provide people... You think that it adds flavor, but it actually takes it away. Because now, whenever you see somebody, and like this is just the truth of the way that these games work, if you see somebody who's playing like a human priest, for example, in classic WoW, you know that like the odds are this person doesn't really give a fuck about their character as much as somebody playing a dwarf. Because dwarf priests have Fear Ward, and Fear Ward is better in most circumstances in classic WoW for priests. So it's like you cannot design a game that provides advantages that are imbalanced and then expect there to be a balanced outcome. That's what I would say. You guys see what I'm saying? Imagine playing, what's this, your racer should only be cosmetic background or for people who are RP? No, I disagree with that. I think that, like, for example, like Tauren, you could have, like, you know, I think Tauren can do herbalism faster, right? That's fine. Who gives a fuck? Herbalism's not really a tremendous advantage that people get. Like, yes, it is better, but, you know, it's not that big of a deal. You have plenty of racial bonuses that people have in WoW that are not combat defining. You have many of them. So this isn't something that's impossible. It's very easy to do.
More nature resistance, Shuriman's heat resistance, and so on. I think it's going to be crucial for Riot to preserve the feeling of every origin feeling at least slightly different. This is an RPG after all, and this.
Well, I think that you should have like gear and stuff that you can get from the different regions and like different types of like faction rewards that are styled around the theme of the area, right? Like you had that one where there was this like, it's basically like this undead, like fucking like badass like warrior that's like imprisoned underneath the city. I forgot which one it was. And like you want to have like armor that you can get in the game that looks like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what it should be. And, yeah, it touches on, Mordekaiser. There you go. Like, that's cool. I don't think that you need, like, specific types of, like, things that you can only get there. But it should be more of a cosmetic choice in a lot of cases. I know that there are people bringing this up. Yes, I think I still do set. I don't know how to get the rest of the black stuff off my face. I tried, I washed it off last night, but it just hasn't all come off. I did a cosplay stream last night with Amaru and Jessica Negri, and they dressed me up like a girl, and so I still have a little bit of the eyeliner on. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Despite the fact that balancing is usually a big issue, I strongly believe these RPG elements have to be preserved. But if Riot is afraid of people min-maxing the game from the very beginning,
Well, you can't be. It's not about being afraid of it. It's just this is what's gonna happen. Like it's just what's gonna happen. If there is a way to min-max, people will min-max. Like that, and it's not the player's fault. Everybody will do it if they think that's the effective way to do it. Like it's just like embrace it, acknowledge it, and plan for it. Because if you're not embracing, acknowledging, and planning for it, all you're doing is setting yourself up to fail.
Focusing on the origin stat with the most value, Riot can always do the safe thing and only give each origin different customization. In the Freljord, people tend to be more pale with lush beards and Nordic tattoos all over their bodies.
Sure.
Shurimans have the classic dreadlock style. People from Bilgewater have the pirate crew tattoos.
Yeah.
Piltovans are your fancy mustache people, and Ionians have the wild, untamed hair and beards. So even
I think it'd be cool if like you do like the racial quest line in that area, and you're able to unlock certain customizations. You know what I mean? Like that would be cool.
Without special origin stats, I do believe these unique character customizations would enhance the region pride too. So, that's what humans would be about. Pretty versatile and nothing too special in an RPG world. So now, let's have a look at the more unique races.
Okay.
After humans, the second most spread out race are the Vastaya. As we mentioned in the last video, the Vastaya are a race that came to be after humans started mating with magical animals. But the thing is, depending on where they are from, there are loads of different kinds of Vastaya. From cat boys
so
to...
you got cat fuckers, pig fuckers, dog fuckers, bird fuckers, and everything like that. Snake fuckers, lizard fuckers. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, really, I don't know, that seems pretty reasonable to me. Okay, I get it.
Fox girls to lizard girls. In fact, here's a family tree of all the Vastayan tribes, and even this doesn't cover all of them.
Holy
and
fuck.
This is where Riot can pull off something genius. As I said, this world already has set rules.
That's
so
a lot
it would
of
be very
furries,
difficult
man.
to introduce a brand new race into this universe. However, it is going to be very easy to just make up a new Vastayan tribe.
Yeah,
so
it's like one guy just fucking decides to start, I don't know, like have sex with a rhinoceros. And then next expansion, well, now you have like a customization option where you can be like a rhino guy or a rhino girl. Like, I don't know. I think that, yeah, I mean, fuck. Okay, all right, sure.
I propose that Riot doesn't make the Vastaya as a playable race overall, but instead it would be cool if Riot let the specific tribes to be playable races. This would leave the door open for them to introduce new playable races later down the line.
That's
If they
true.
cross off all the Vastaya at once, they kinda shoot themselves in the foot. But I know,
No,
here
it's
I
just
go
add a
mumbling about
customization
how the
option.
world works again. So let's have a look at some of the specific tribes.
Alright,
When
let's
I
see it.
say Vastaya, most people think of Ari.
Yeah,
She
see, that's the only one that I know right there. That's the only one. I don't
comes
know
from
any
the
of the other.
Vasani that look like foxes. Although her tribe is mostly gone, the lore can justify new members to be found, so they can be playable. The Kilash tribe comes from the jungles between Shurima and Ishtal.
Okay.
These lion-like people
Morgan.
are known for hunting dangerous beasts.
I would have never
And
guessed.
they take great pride in trophy collecting.
Okay.
It's the average mount collector. The Shimon tribe are monkey-like people from Ionia. While their older members are very wise, their younger members can be very goofy. The Otrani come from Mount Targon,
Okay.
resembling the classic goat people.
Goat fuckers.
Their hobbies
Got it.
are taking care of the Stellarcorns. The Lowland tribe are Ionians who resemble bird people. This
Bird
tribe
fuckers.
likes to combine the art of dancing
Got
with
it.
lethal assassinations. The Ubikat are something close to lizards, though they do have the ability to shapeshift. Out of all of the other tribes, these are the closest to their pure blood ancestors. And we also technically have the Marai.
Fish fuckers.
The fish people, whom
Yeah.
I doubt are going to be playable. Imagine modeling boots for them. Now, these were the more pure blood tribes.
Okay.
But there are many more Vastaya who don't fit any of these. For example, Seth has an Ionian Vastayan mother and a Noxian human father. So he doesn't really have a tribe. Long story short, the Vastaya are an incredibly versatile race and Riot can use them in a million different ways.
Sure.
This is
I
where they
get it.
can really go wild. But that's it for the Vastaya. So now, let's have a look at the third most popular race, the Yordles. These are the classic
Jesus
RPG tiny people. In League of Legends, people either adore them or hate them. There is no in between.
Yeah, I think it's like they always kind of annoy me a little bit, but these don't really seem that annoying overall. If you put all of them into context and it's like which ones do you hate the most, it probably wouldn't be these.
Kinda like those guys.
They're not that bad.
But not those guys, everyone hates them.
No,
There is
yeah.
no doubt in my mind that Yordles will be playable, even though they have an interesting catch.
Oh,
You s-
100%. Like, obviously people like playing, you know, the little cute characters like this. Oh, every fucking game. How many girls, like, have a character that looks like this? You know what I mean?
See, unlike all the other races on Runeterra, Yordles
100%.
are immortal. They are essentially modes of magic that come from a hidden magical realm
Oh, that's
known
cool.
as
I like
Bandle
that.
City.
Okay.
And because they are made of magical essence, when they die, we don't really know what happens. But we assume they return to the Bandle City and there they respawn.
Yeah,
With that said,
obviously.
the lore suggests that maybe Yordles can die, but they just can't die of old age. But let's ignore that. That's a massive rabbit hole. So, you know, when it comes
It's
to
like
gameplay,
recycling.
at least corpse running is going to make sense for them. Now, because Yordles are immortal, in most cases they are always happy and cheerful. Even their home realm is very colorful because of that. But then there is also Vex, a Yordle champion who has recently been added into League of Legends, who gives Yordles an interesting perspective.
What's this?
You see, unlike all the other Yordles, Vex hates living. She hates the bright colors and the cheerfulness. You know, it's the average League player. So Vex is constantly...
Yeah, this is like they added this character in for like fucking edgy like middle school and high school girls that play League. That's 100% what it is. Like she's even doing the expression like, yeah, okay, dad. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, happiest League player, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It just won't boot. So
That yeah, the hot topic shit. Yeah, exactly.
in deep depression and agony. All she wishes for is to leave this world, but she can't, because
Jesus
Yordles
Christ.
can't die. Anyway, just like all the other races...
Again, I love stuff like that because it's actually, like, as I said, I feel like so many fantasy stories are written by fucking pussies. They never touch on any interesting topics. They never have anything where the bad guys ever win. It's always the good guys are the good guys, the bad guys are bad, the bad guys want to be bad because they are bad, and then they lose. Oh, wow. What a great fucking story. This is so interesting and compelling. I can't believe it. Holy fuck. Like, it's like these people have no fucking sense of adding a morally gray character into a story without having it have some kind of fucking parallel to their real life politics. I hate it. It's so fucking reductive and boring.
Yordles
No balls,
can be
yeah,
found
true.
all around Runeterra.
Pussy
There is
boys.
Poppy in Demacia, Colette in Noxus, Kennen in Ionia, Rumble in Shurima, and so on.
Yeah.
But now,
Okay.
so far we have only covered the races, which I'm pretty sure will launch with the MMO.
That's the goat
The
fucker.
humans, the Vastaya, and the Yordles are the core of this world.
Black Mage.
So now we are diving into the races that still exist in this universe. But it's going to be up to Riot if they make them playable. First of all, there are the Minotaurs. The Minotaurs are different from the Vastaya because they don't have magical ancestors. They are just a standalone race. Originally, the Minotaurs controlled the mountains south of Noxus, but because Noxus is Noxus...
I mean, how do you get a Minotaur? I mean, you just do the math. So basically, correct me if I'm wrong about this. In Greek mythology, Poseidon wanted to hook up with this girl, but she didn't like him, so he said, fuck this bitch, I'm gonna make her attracted to bulls. And she made, so he does this to her, she fucks the bull, and then that's the Minotaur. And then the dad of the Minotaur, right, her husband, is upset because, you know, I mean, it was Zeus, right? Okay, it was Zeus. Well, anyway, so it's like this guy comes out, and that's why he put him in the labyrinth. Because so he couldn't get out. That's...
Skoro on ne baš. Da, to stvarno neću mačke da se Sucking.
That's how the whole thing happened. So, I mean, I feel like they're not really a standalone race. I mean, even in like the base lore, that's how it happened.
Thus, soon they absorbed the Minotaurs into their empire.
Zeus is bad
With
guy?
that said, some
He's a good
Minotaurs
guy.
fled the tyranny of Noxus and they joined the other regions. A great example is Kryl, the
Yeah.
Minotaur fighting in the elite armies of Demacia.
Okay.
And yes, the Minotaurs also have the stereotypical sexy female version in this universe,
I
so they
wonder
can
why.
easily be turned into a playable race. Next, in Bilgewater, there is an
Playable.
incredible
Mogu ti reći da
amount of
odlično radi,
weird
brate.
fishy people. A lot of these could be
Okay.
really cool playable races when Bilgewater gets its expansion.
Bum. Da.
Odlično radi ovo, znaš, Han bolje učitava teksture, sve bolje radi.
To ti vjerujem.
Jednostavno brže radi igra jednoume.
To ti vjerujem.
Evo ti na Discord, 3100 i nešto megabajta u sekundi mu je read, čitanje.
Znam. Skoro kao RAM memorije, toliko brzo upisuje. Čita.
Eto ti vidiš.
You again. Great. Gotcha. Okay. Great. Okay. What? Great. Okay. It's gonna cost you double. Aren't there other units to bother? Okay. Are you sure? Gotcha. Yeah. Roger that. You call that a plan? Sounds interesting. It could be worse. You call that a plan?
Attention. Building complete.
What? Gotcha. Sounds interesting. It could be worse.
Šta ti bi da ručaš ili?
Da.
Oh, here we go again. Okay, are you sure? My bow is ready. Gotcha. Yeah. I hope you're not wasting my time. Great. Gotcha.
Attention.
Faster than my
Building
bow.
completed.
This better be good. A new task.
Attention. Building completed.
Yeah. Taste my arrows. This better be good. Okay.
Attention. Building completed.
What? Are you sure? My bow is ready.
Attention.
Gotcha.
Building completed.
Yeah.
The train has arrived at the station.
A new task. What? Gotcha. Whatever you say, as long as you pay me. You again.
Attention. Building completed.
What? Oh, here we go again. Great. Let me put an arrow in his head.
Attention.
Right.
Building completed.
Yeah. You again. Gotcha. Yes, tell me. But be quick. This better be good. Are you sure? Straight to the heart. I hope you're not wasting my time.
Attention. Building completed.
bow is ready. Are you sure? Straight to the heart. Yes, tell me. But be quick. A new task.
Train has arrived at the station.
You would.
Attention. Building completed.
Let me put an arrow in his head. You are gonna pay me for this, right? Straight to the heart. Let me put an arrow in his head. Faster than my bow. My bow is ready. Like to mean the odds. This better be good.
Attention. Building completed.
Yes. Great. Yeah. This better be good. Okay, are you sure? Taste my arrows. Taste my arrows. Let me put an arrow in his head. I hope you're not wasting my time. Okay, faster than my bow.
Building completed.
My bow is ready. What? Right between the eyes. Straight to the heart. You are gonna pay me for this, right?
Nema ostatka ekipe, moj brat.
Ne.
Yes, tell me. But be quick. Faster than my bow. Great.
Beka radi. Gardinovački vjerojatno spava. Nenad je otišao onome da pokaže tamo kolegi valjda nešto. Svak svojim putem je.
Da. Živa istina.
Gdje si imao šta radi? Nisam se čuo s njim baš dugo u pičku materiju.
Ne znam da li sad na rabotu.
Radi, a?
Nisam siguran kad mu tačno pada smena.
Šta kaže on, kako mu je tamo? Nije loša, a?
Pa ja mislim da nije loše. Hoćeš iskreno, ne pitanje. Pitat će ga na kraju mjeseca kad dobije pare. Je li zadovoljan platom, je li mu teško za te pare? To je ono što mene zanima da ga pitam. Ne radi mene, no radi njega samo.
Nema, brate, jednog jebenog dana da ne štrecne struja, ovo, brate, već nije realno, je.
Sad ćete reći što ti je skuplji kompjuter, to te više vata strava.
A nema šta, moram i to da kupim, no. Sve ide, hoćeš ono i onda više ne znam šta hoćeš, je.
Da.
Svaki jebeni dan ne može da prođe jedan dan da ne secnu struju, a mislim da jedan jebeni dan ne može da prođe. I to ono najgore milisekunda, ono što samo škljocne i to je to.
Konta. To nam je hrane.
A new task.
Building completed.
What? Roger that. You're gonna pay me for this, right? Great. Straight to the heart. Faster than my bow. Yeah. Gotcha. You again. Straight to the heart. Whatever you say.
Attention.
As long as you pay.
Technology research finished.
Oh, more orders. Taste my arrows. Yes. Okay, are you sure? Roger that.
Attention.
Here we
Building
go again.
completed.
What? Yes. Roger that. You order, you pay. My bow is ready. Oh, here we go again. A new task.
Yeah, I think
Although
that'd be
modeling
cool.
helmets for a hammerhead shark is going to be interesting.
I think that, like, for a lot of things, you shouldn't have to, like, you can add a customization option without having it have every single type of customization option available. Like, for example, whenever you play an undead, the way armor looks on an undead doesn't look the same as it looks like a human or like a dwarf or something like that. And it's like, even in a more extreme example, you have, like, mechanomes. Mechanomes, I mean, fuck. Like, you can't even transmog some of the armor slots.
Also, can't forget about the trolls. Previously, I showed you the ice trolls, but there are also the sand trolls. And here's an interesting fact for League veterans. We have never seen a sand troll, but because of Ezreal's adventures, we know they exist. They should be around Icathia, which is where Jax is from, who also has 3 fingers, by the way. So it is extremely likely that the mysterious Jax is a sand troll.
Yeah.
Regardless, the majority of trolls are united under Trundle, the self-proclaimed Troll King, who is fighting in the service of Lysandra, who is a baddie even though she is morally right. So since the majority of the trolls are our enemies, I doubt they will be a playable race. Lastly, let's not forget...
I don't know really if, like, that would be very hard to say if they would do that, like a troll race. I think that you want to have, like, some... Because, like, some people like playing fantasy games to play, like, a self-insert. Some people like playing fantasy games to play something that's, like, totally different, right? You've got something like, I don't know, fucking... like a Tauren or a Hrothgar or something like that. It's just something totally out of left field.
that this universe also has Yetis. Fun fact, before everything got frozen, the Yeti civilization was very advanced. They even had their own technology based around magic. In fact, Willem, the Yeti Nunu is riding on, is a hologram from the Yeti technology. But then, as the civilization disappeared, the Yetis went a bit more ferocious. so no, they won't be playable either. But that's pretty much it for the races.
It's like ogres.
As I mentioned, there aren't too many different kinds, but that's because Riot is avoiding mimicking other RPGs. That's why there are no dwarves or elves here. Runeterra is simply trying to be unique in every way, and so far...
I don't think they should worry about that too much. I mean, the fact is, like, everything is always derivative of something else. There's always going to be some kind of thing that somebody did before that's exactly like what you're doing now. I mean, fantasy, and also, like, I mean, pretty much every type of fantasy has Tolkien DNA. I mean, like, let's be honest. So, like, I don't think that's a bad thing either. It's just, you know, so, like, if they added dwarves or elves or something like that, I don't think anybody would really give a shit. I don't think that's a big problem.
It is working. Now, I also have seen some people asking if Darkin will be playable. To which I have to say, that's like asking if you can play as a god. The Darkin are a corrupted version of the Ascended God Warriors.
Oh,
a single
shit.
Darkin can annihilate an army of 1,000.
So it's like a Death Knight.
The Darkin known as Aatrox is the only being in existence that managed to kill a celestial god. He stabbed someone wielding the power of the Aspect of War so hard, the Aspect of War died. So no, I don't think Darkin will be playable.
Okay.
Anyway, with all the races
hero
covered,
class.
assuming Riot is going to use the Origin system, this is what the playable races could look like. Humans are versatile, they are everywhere, there is not much to mention there. When it comes to the Vastaya, the common tribes can easily appear in Noxus, Piltover and Bilgewater. These are the regions open to everyone. On the other side, the Vastaya are closely linked to spiritual magic, so you will hardly find one in Demacia, since it is a firmly anti-magic region. And somehow, not many Vastaya were ever mentioned in the Freljord, so Riot doesn't have to force them there. But then we have Shurima, Ionia and Targon. Assuming these would be saved for expansions, they could be used to introduce new playable races. Since I doubt all the newcomers remember the names, the Kilash, Lothlan and Okrani are the Lion people, Bird people and Goat people.
Yeah, let's
when it comes
just
to the
keep it
Yordles, as
simple,
I mentioned,
okay?
they can originate.
Yeah, it's like everybody like, yeah, what's it really called? Like, oh, it's the goat guys. Yeah, I know you.
From anywhere, but they do avoid the Freljord and Targon because of the harsh climates. And yes, I know there were some prehistoric Yordles in the Freljord, but after it got covered in ice, they disappeared.
Yeah.
And lastly, the Minotaurs can be found in Demacia and Noxus. But it does make sense for some of them to flee to the Freljord, and others to travel to Ionia during the invasion. With all of this said, remember, this is just my decently educated opinion. Since the races are pretty much mixed up all over Runeterra, Riot could also lift the limitations and let every race start in every region. And
That might be a better idea. Like that's one of those things where that's probably a better idea for the game, even though the other thing would be a better idea for the lore. It gives the world less identity. Really? How do you measure identity? Because I measure not being able to play with your friend on the character that you want a lot higher than some ephemeral idea of identity. Oh, it's identity. No, I don't give a fuck.
Great.
Like, this is... No, I'm not going to take that seriously at all. The game sucks. If you can't play the game the way you want to play the game's bad. Identity, the world feel, all of this is just bullshit. I have to go AFK for like 2 minutes. I need to use the bathroom. And then I'll be back, okay? Why'd you wash your hands for 5 minutes? You know, it is what it is. Alright, let's go.
Be fine with that. Some story would be wonky, but it wouldn't be anything horrible.
Right.
Although, I still believe some racial exclusivity helps the feeling of RPGs. So, all of this is still only the first half of the video. If you want to take a break and do your business...
I think having, like, some classes or, like, some races that, you know, there might not be, like, oh, you can't be a... Like, for the longest time, you couldn't be, like, a Blood Elf Warrior, for example. It's not really that big of a deal. But, like, making it to where... Basically, like, if this... Wait, they knew what? I'm confused.
This is still only the first half of the video. If you wanna take a break and do your business without washing your hands, now's your chance.
Wow. I actually don't, I don't know what to say. I legitimately don't even know what to say. Wow. Fuck.
This program will continue in 5
Why,
seconds.
I must have watched it ahead of time. Of course. This was a tactical
Did you wash your
shit.
hands? Okay, so far we only covered the races, which was definitely still the easy part. The much more difficult parts are going to be the classes. This
Okay.
is where Riot is facing a great challenge. Partially, it's because there are inherently no wrong answers when it comes to designing a class system. You can really make anything work if you put some thought into it. But more than that, Riot is challenged by the setting itself. League of Legends currently has over 160 different champions. They each have unique abilities, and together they can define about 40 different classes. I counted them myself. From these, Riot has to pick only a handful to be playable, which means the majority of
Not
the...
necessarily, because you can have specs as well. Like every warrior, for example, in most games does not play the exact same. So like, for example, like you can spec into different things and different things can be useful in like their own way. So yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true. I do think that they should stick to, like you don't want to think too far outside the box. Like there's a reason why there was a box to begin with. And I think that, you know, you don't want to like try to like reinvent the wheel, like go with like the traditional, you know, warrior, hunter, paladin, etc. and then come up with some of your own like cool flavor classes on your own. Like how, you know, like Warcraft has Death Knights and monks and stuff like that.
Classes won't make
Or
it
druids.
in, and people who love those classes will be disappointed.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm not a designer, so instead of...
Yeah, you know, it's not your problem. And yeah, also, like, you could also... Like, whenever World of Warcraft came out, everybody wanted Death Knights. Everybody wanted Death Knights and Demon Hunters in classic WoW. But they didn't come out for, like, a long time after that. And everyone was generally okay with that. It was like, ah, yeah, that's fine, right? Because, yeah, I mean, like, in Warcraft 3, my favorite race was the Undead. I thought the Undead, like the Necromancers, fucking just... You start killing people, you start raising them up as Undead. It's amazing, right? I loved it. And so, I didn't get a chance to play Death Knight until Wrath. But it wasn't a big deal.
Trying to figure out how to make this work. I'm going to show you all the cool, unique classes this universe has.
We got Leonidas.
And again, because Legion Pride is a big part of this universe, you'll see that some of these are tied to specific regions.
Okay.
But not the warrior. That one is different in every single region. So let's start with that.
Right.
The warriors in this universe provide a unique challenge on top of the already difficult decisions. It's because in every region, the fantasy of a warrior is represented by something else. In Demacia, it is the Dauntless Vanguard. These are the classic knights in shiny armor pursuing justice. In Noxus, the traditional warrior would be part of the Trifarian Legion, which is a rank you can achieve after killing your best sparring friend in combat. These guys rarely use shields. In Shurima, the classic warrior is the warrior of the Golden Army. These are fighting for the glory of the Shuriman Emperor.
Okay.
In Piltover, you would have the Enforcers. Simply said, it's the cops. People will know these from Arcane. But in a way, the Wardens are the melee warriors of Piltover. But then, in the Freljord, warriors are represented by the Berserks, either wielding axes or giant blades as they worship the primal god known as the Iron Boar. On Targon, we have the Warriors of Rakor, which are somewhat themed after the classic Spartan armies.
Yeah.
Then in Ionia, the classic warrior is known as a Blade Master.
Exactly. Well, that's the same as like in WoW. Like, and these are specs, right? These are obviously different specs you can have, because like you have like a lot of the different types of like what is the warrior fantasy? The warrior fantasy is either like fucking some giant armor-clad juggernaut that just can't even be pierced even with like the strongest of swords. He's like fucking 7 feet tall and he can just kill anybody, but he's really slow, right? You have that kind of a warrior. You have like a gladiator, right? Because you think of like movies, right? It's like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, Leonidas in 300. You have, let's see, for a berserker, what would be a good example for a berserker? I mean, it's just like your traditional Viking berserker, right? A guy that's like not wearing a lot of armor, he's got a really big weapon, he's super strong. Conan the Barbarian, there you go, yeah, Conan the Barbarian, perfectly. Like, yeah, Guts, you've got that as well. And so you just have these as the different specs, and then also, like for, you know, he's talking about Blade Master, like a Blade Master in Warcraft 3, like, that was very different than a warrior that we have in WoW now. It was actually quite different in many ways. And it's like, obviously, you have like a Blade Master, this is kind of like samurai, some sort of like Eastern warrior, something like that. And like, that's its own type of warrior. So you have these be like subclasses or specs or different play styles. I think that's the solution for it.
Samurai-styled swords that have a rich history in this region. Also, there are the Wuju Blade Masters, which are on a totally different level. The Wuju technique is so powerful it was forbidden from using it in combat. The TLDR version of the story is that when Noxus invaded Ionia, Master Yi obliterated entire Noxian legions on his own. Before Noxians realized how overpowered he was, and they nuked the town where the Wuju Blade Masters were trained. So now, there is no more Wuju Blade Masters, just normal Blade Masters. And lastly, the common warrior in Bilgewater would be a brawler. You see, I just named 8 different kinds of warriors. How is Riot going to handle this? I don't know.
Different specs.
They could just make one warrior class and then just have the players play out the fantasy while wearing cool armor sets.
Exactly.
Or they could make it so that every origin has a different skin of the class.
That's
you know,
true.
all the abilities would be the same.
Like you could have like different types of, I think it's like also racial armor. Like you have different types of racial armor. Like for example, the racial armor you'd get from the pirate warriors is going to be totally fucking different than you get from the Nordic warriors. I think that's just what makes sense.
They would
different
be
weapons
doing the
too,
same
yeah,
numbers,
exactly.
But when a Noxian swings a weapon, there is a bloody trail, and when an Iceborne Berserk swings a weapon, there is a frosty effect.
Yeah.
But again, this is for
Spell
Riot
effects
to
are
figure
another
out.
factor.
Now I'm just going to show you all the unique and interesting classes from this universe. In Demacia, we have the Mage Seekers. These are the people who hunt down mages.
We had this in Warcraft 3. Spellbreaker was always one of the classes that people had wanted to see. You know, like a male-wearing armor class that had a shield and a sword, and they could do, like, magic damage. So, like, yeah, I mean, these are cool.
Carry with them a stone disc called the Grey Mark. This is the tool that allows them to absorb magic. So this would be sort of an anti-magic class. There are also a lot of iconic Demacian scouts. Also, Demacia has a lot of stories about theaters and bards. But Demacia also brought spotlight onto the Sentinels.
Okay.
The Sentinels of Light are people dedicated to fighting the undead. Because the undead can't really be killed with normal weapons. They
like
use
silver
the
weapons?
relic stones that can be forged into any weapon. Be it a crossbow, a gun, a really big gun, or even a sword. Fun fact, in the lore, the Sentinel guns don't have triggers. You have to will it to fire with every fiber of your body.
That's
so of
interesting,
course,
I like that.
Lucian canonically fired it with his PP. Lastly, this will be unknown to even veteran League players. But Demacia put a really cool twist onto the Paladin class.
What's that?
You see, in League of Legends, when you play as Garen, his ultimate is to smite his enemies with a giant holy blade.
Yeah.
This made people wonder, is Garen a mage? In Demacia? Actually, no. In the lore, Garen has never done anything even similar to this. And that's because there is something even cooler happening. Most people in Demacia pray to the aspect of justice, which they call the Winged Protector. That's why Demacia has a lot of angelic statues. Coincidentally, the aspect of justice can also be found in League, its scale. So what's happening is that when Garen is casting his ultimate, It is not him magically creating a holy blade in the sky. It is actually the aspect of justice answering his call. So even though this universe...
That's effectively the same lore of paladins in WoW. Is like they don't really cast magic, they channel it, and like it's channeled through them. They're not the actual... They are not the genesis of the magic themselves. They're more likely a conduit.
Doesn't really have a paladin class, which would be casting holy spells. This would be a really cool alternative.
Yeah.
People who worship the aspect of justice and let her answer their calls.
Yeah,
Pretty
like an
cool,
inquisitor.
but now let's move on to Noxus.
Does like range
Noxians
damage.
are one of the only regions who harvest black powder, so they also have their own mercenaries with functional guns. In Noxus
Cool.
you can also find a lot of demonic cultists, so I would expect a warlock or a demon summoner, and they also have a few renowned assassin guilds.
Yeah,
and
makes
the
sense.
most unique of them all, Noxus also has a circle of hemomancers, people who follow
Blood
Vladimir,
magic?
a lord who used to be a hostage to the Darkin, and who
Dracula.
eventually learned how to use their blood magic. So these people use the very same blood magic that shaped the Darkin. Then in Shurima, we may find...
Yeah, again, we have this in WoW. Like, blood magic is very common in, like, you know, fantasy games, etc. I think that's badass. Especially whenever you have, like, because you can create, like, interesting mechanics where, like, the player can damage themselves in order to do something, like, more powerful or whatever. I think that's cool. Like, as long as it's not broken or overpowered or something like that. Like, thematically, it is a cool idea.
Arcane mages.
Like Seal of Blood.
These people follow Zerath, the most powerful mage on Runeterra, whose body has been reduced to nothing but arcane energy. I would honestly love to see this class in-game, because I love the idea of having an Archon form on cooldown. Shurima also has some prophets who can open up tiny portals into the void and summon tiny void creatures. It would be sort of like Warlock in WoW. You know, use the power of the enemy against themselves.
Makes sense.
Then there are the Sand Shifters, people who can use the sand to create sand mirror images. And we can't forget about the Chronomancers, people who use time magic in a lot of creative, interesting ways. Then in Piltover, riding off of the success of Arcane, people will want to play as a Warden. Which is...
Oh yeah, 100% people are gonna want to play the same classes from that stuff. I mean, absolutely. It kind of goes without saying. I do think that, like, for the different mages and stuff, just make these classes. It's the same as something like an Enforcer. Bro, it's a hunter. Like, you just make it like a hunter or a ranger or some sort of, like, variation of that.
Is a more elite version of the Enforcers. These would be equipped with sniper rifles and stun grenades. On the crafty side, there are also the Hextech Engineers. These are the people who can use science to allow them to wield magic even if they are not mages.
That's cool.
And separate from them,
Yeah, I like
there are
that.
also the Artificers. To them, anything from a powerful arm to blade legs should be possible. And down in Zone, I would love to
Different
see some kind of
customization
an
options.
alchemist who's using questionable drugs to help his allies.
Great.
Next we go into the Freljord. Here we can find the Draklorn Inquisitors, which are Lysandra's followers with abilities themed around true ice. Essentially, these would be frost battle mages. But perhaps the
That's
most
interesting.
iconic for the Freljord would be the Shamans. These worship the animalistic primal gods of the Freljord, and all their abilities mimic the primal gods, be it a bear, a fox, a mammoth, or a boar. Then on Targon we would
Okay,
find
so
a
it's
lot of
almost like
people
a
with
Diablo
celestial
druid.
powers. You know, calling down stars and such. But
Okay,
there
yeah,
are
that makes
also the
sense.
Solari who use the power of the sun to enhance their attacks. They also wear massive plated armor, so this would be the tank class.
Right.
Or the Lunari, who use the power of the moon to stay in the shadows. This would be more of an assassin class.
It's a rogue or
Besides
something like
these,
that.
there are also a lot of Starcallers around, and even Draconic worshippers. Then,
Yeah, I think that, like, really you don't have to add everything in on release. You just add in a good variance of classes, and then based off of what people like, what they don't like, what you feel like is missing in the world or what makes sense, that's what you add next. Like, I don't think you need to add, like, every single thing in right off the bat.
In Ionia,
Makes sense.
besides the Vuju Blade Masters, which would be far too overpowered, some people choose to fight without a blade. These would be
Like
the monks of Hirana.
Yeah.
They channel the power of Ionian dragons to empower their limbs. And don't worry, they are a bit different from the traditional monks. They are far more badass. Think less Bruce Lee and more Dragon Ball. But of course, Ionia is also home to the Kinku ninjas. Their goal is to maintain balance in Ionia. This means that when a spirit starts killing people, the ninjas go out and deal with the spirit. And when people start terrorizing the spirits, the ninjas go out and deal with the people. Most of these...
See, that's kind of what I was saying before about how I like it whenever you have stories that actually have weird types of moral grayness. And like, you can play as the bad guys, effectively. Like, I think that's very important. Be able to do whatever the hell you want.
Are your classic ninjas empowered with spiritual magic, but some are using the forbidden shadow technique. And while they surely look evil, just like anything in League of Legends, it's not really one-sided. These ninjas are simply using questionable techniques to protect their homeland.
Sure.
And honestly, the Shadow Ninjas are so iconic for Ionia, I really do believe they will be playable. Then we get to Bilgewater. Besides all the things that you could do with pirates and monster hunters, the most iconic class of this place are the priests of Buru. The Buru worship the god of motion called Nagakiboros. While they are priests, they fight with full physical strength, while borrowing power from the god to empower themselves.
I don't know how many classes have we really had like that in games, where it's like you have a class that's almost a, it's like empowered by some kind of like void magic or void power. I'm trying to think like what would really have like that? Priest, but huge strength. Yeah, exactly. Like enhancement, maybe. A Shadow Priest. Yeah, I mean, like, I think Shadow Priest is probably the closest thing that you could get with this.